At 52 years old, I've learned that patience isn't a virtue, it's a weapon, and I've been sharpening mine for 30 years. Picture this. You're sitting at what you think is a casual family dinner when your 45-year-old sister announces she's moving into your house next week. Your elderly parents beam with approval, as if this is the most natural thing in the world. But here's what they didn't see coming. While they spent decades treating me like the family safety net, I spent decades taking notes. Every slight, every favor, every time they expected me to sacrifice while my sister got a free pass. The look on their faces when I calmly announced I'd already sold the house was worth every single year of quiet observation. If you've ever wanted to see what happens when a middle-aged woman finally stops being the family doormat, hit that like button and subscribe. Comment below and tell me where you're watching from, because trust me, this story proves that the best revenge is served with decades of experience behind it. My name is Catherine, and at 52, I've perfected the art of watching and waiting. 30 years of marriage taught me patience. 2 years of divorce taught me strategy. Tonight, sitting at my parents' dining room table, I'm about to graduate with honors. The setup should have been obvious. Mom's wedding china gleaming under the chandelier, Dad's good scotch breathing in crystal decanters, Amanda positioned at the head of the table like she's accepting some distinguished award. This isn't our monthly family dinner. This is theater. So, Catherine, Amanda begins with that practiced smile I've watched manipulate our parents since we were children. I've been thinking, since your divorce, you must be so lonely in that big house. What if I moved in for a while? Just until I get back on my feet after losing my job. Our parents exchange those knowing looks, the same ones they've shared every time Amanda needed rescuing. Dad reaches for the scotch. What a wonderful idea. Catherine has all that space, and Amanda needs support. I sit quietly, sipping my water, watching the performance I've witnessed countless times over 3 decades. The difference is, this time, I've spent 2 years preparing for this exact moment. While they saw a recently divorced woman who might be vulnerable and grateful for family company, I saw an opportunity. The garage boxes labeled Amanda's things suddenly make perfect sense. She's been planning this for weeks. I reach into my purse, pulling out a leather portfolio I've carried to every family gathering for the past 6 months. Actually, I say, my voice carrying the calm that comes with age and preparation, I have some news too. The room shifts. Mom's enthusiastic smile falters. Dad sets down his scotch glass. Amanda's confident posture wavers slightly. What kind of news? Mom asks, her tone suddenly cautious. I open the portfolio, revealing the sale documents I finalized yesterday. I sold the house last week. The closing is next month. The silence is so complete I can hear the grandfather clock ticking in the hallway. Amanda's face cycles through confusion, disbelief, then anger in rapid succession. "You sold it?" she whispers. "But I already gave notice on my apartment. Here's where 30 years of observation pays off." I pull out my phone, opening the group text thread between Mom, Dad, and Amanda from 3 weeks ago. Interesting timing. "You've all been planning this since mid-July, haven't you?" I turn the screen toward them, displaying their messages discussing how to approach Catherine and make it seem natural. Amanda's text suggesting they wait until after she'd already given her landlord notice, so I'd feel obligated to help. 30 years, I say quietly. 30 years of watching this exact pattern. Create Amanda's crisis. Present Catherine with the solution, assume compliance. Dad reaches for his scotch again, his hand trembling slightly. "Catherine, you're being unreasonable," Dad says, his voice taking on that authoritative tone that worked when I was 22 and financially dependent. Family helps family. "You're right," I reply, opening another section of my portfolio. "Let me show you what family help has looked like in this house." I spread out documents across the table. Not hastily gathered papers, but meticulously organized records spanning 3 decades. Amanda's college tuition payments after she dropped out twice, the car loan cosigns, the credit card bailouts, the down payment for her first apartment. $68,000, I read from the bottom of my spreadsheet. "That's what you've given Amanda since she turned 18. Would you like to know how much you've contributed to my life in the same period?" Mom's face goes pale. "Catherine, we didn't keep track." I did. Another document joins the pile. Property taxes, twice. Christmas gifts for my kids when money was tight after their father left, once. Total contribution over 30 years, $4,200. Amanda stands abruptly. "This is vindictive accounting, Catherine. You've always been jealous." "Jealous?" I laugh, and it's not bitter. It's the laugh of a woman who finally understands the game. "Amanda, I'm 52 years old. I survived a marriage, raised 2 children, built a career, and navigated a divorce. I'm not jealous. I'm done." The manipulation tactics that worked for decades suddenly feel powerless against someone who's seen it all before. "So what are you saying?" Mom asks, her voice small. "You won't help your sister at all?" I pull out a business card from my portfolio. Actually, I'm offering something better than enabling. My friend Sandra runs HR at a marketing firm downtown. They're hiring for an administrative position. Full-time, benefits, enough salary to cover a studio apartment. Amanda stares at the card without taking it. "I don't want your charity connections. It's not charity. It's called networking, something you learn when you actually build a career." I stand, gathering my documents with practiced efficiency. Here's what's changing. My new condo has 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and a strict no house guest policy. My phone number is for genuine emergencies only. Dad pushes back from the table. "Catherine, you can't just abandon your family." "I'm not abandoning anyone." I'm establishing the boundaries I should have set 30 years ago. I look at each of them. "Amanda, you have 2 weeks to interview for that position or find your own solution. Mom, Dad, your pattern of rescuing her while expecting me to provide backup stops now." I head toward the door, then pause. For what it's worth, my divorce taught me something valuable. The people who respect your boundaries are the ones worth keeping around. My book club, my yoga class, my neighbors, they've all offered more genuine support in 2 years than this family has in 3 decades. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is simply refusing to play by rules that never served you. 6 months later, I'm arranging fresh flowers in my downtown condo, the morning light streaming through windows that belong entirely to me. My mortgage payment is 60% lower than the old house. My retirement fund is growing again, and my pottery class starts tonight. The kiln in my building's art studio represents freedom I never had time for during 30 years of family obligation. Amanda took the job. She sends occasional updates about her new apartment and growing independence. Our parents are in family therapy, learning to distinguish between love and enabling after decades of destructive patterns. The dynamic that controlled our family for 3 decades crumbled when someone finally said no. People often ask if I feel guilty about my calculated response. The truth is, the most satisfying revenge isn't dramatic or cruel. Sometimes it's simply the quiet power of a woman who's lived long enough to recognize manipulation and wise enough to walk away from it. At 52, I've learned that the best revenge stories aren't about destruction. They're about reconstruction, building a life where other people's emergencies don't become your obligations.